Now what's going on, everybody? Vince here, and today is Thanksgiving. So as a special little small video that I wanted to share, as you can see on the title of the screen and on the thumbnail, I figured that for Thanksgiving that I like to share my top 5 video games that I love and played, and they're my top 5 of all time. This took me a while to really put together and to think, because I have played a pretty good amount of games, but the 5 that stick with me are the ones that I honestly do come back to and just realize how fun they are. It's a little, you could say it's a little moment for right now of me like giving thanks of the games that came out, I got my hands on and appreciate throughout my entire years of gaming. With that said, we're going to start from number 5. Now this game at number 5 was one of the games that I heard about and really looked into history of knowing when it did come out finally. This game was in the process of like wanting to previously come out, I believe, back in the PlayStation 2 era. The thought of it was there, but it did not happen until recently on the PS4. I can say that the combat as well, like I was really drawn to the combat and the use of the weapons and the armor and such as well, and even coming back on it on New Game Plus, even it's a little repetitive, but because I love the world and I love the gaming and everything about it, is why it's on my top 5, and that game is Nioh. Now Nioh, I remember, as I said before, when it first was announced, it was actually something that I was really excited for, based on this Irish pirate guy named William. Sort of took the same sort of historical story, even in real life, that this guy had the ability of seeing like yokai and oni, so he went to Japan to like solve this situation on him, and eventually became like the first white samurai, as they would say. And them giving this fictional story and a twist into the world of the warlord Nobunaga and things like that. You're fighting demons and creatures, and it's this Souls-based style of game, but it's fast, it's repetitive, and it's a little difficult. So it definitely resembled on Dark Souls style, but with the Ninja Gaiden like fast pace, and like there's no rest for the wicked in here. And the style in the armor and the weapons and the storytelling was one of my favorite things of all time on Nioh. And to this day, coming back to it, and haven't played Nioh 2, but I do love Nioh 1, and it got me really excited when Nioh 2 was announced. Now I haven't played Nioh 2, but I did play the alpha and I played the demo, so I really want to get into Nioh 2 when I do get the chance. I know it's been out for a little while, but I've got other things on my plate, so eventually, to be able to make room, got to finish that off first. So there you go. Nioh is number 5 for me. Now moving on to top 4. Top 4 was a little challenging. A lot of the choices that I had to make this commitment and them being my top 5 games of all time really took a I don't want to say it took a toll on. It's not taking a toll on me, but you have to really think about, like what else did I play that I came back to, but I consider it really my top favorite games of all time. And then slowly but surely it comes back, and then realizing, well, I keep going back to the game because of what I love and what I enjoy, and based on the genre that I love. Now, and that's fighting games. Fighting games is actually a really fond genre of mine. You know, loving to go to the arcades with friends, playing games like Killer Instinct, Marvel vs. the Versus series, Marvel vs. Capcom, Mortal Kombat, all the great arcade games that you would honestly just go out and play. And now that eventually it comes down to one of the most anticipated games that I was always looking forward to when it first was announced. I got excited for the roster. I got excited because of the previous game of it, and I got excited for the pre-order because what they were introducing. They brought one of my favorite horror franchise villains into a fighting game. And that was Jason Voorhees for Mortal Kombat X. Now, even though we have Mortal Kombat 11 right now out, and the game looks fantastic, it is a cool looking game with some really great online functions, and never really had a hiccup at the time. And they learned that from MKX. But what MKX had is what Mortal Kombat 11 doesn't have, is just the fast pace and freedom of the combos that you can do. The way how just the freedom that you had with every single character, no matter what variation you had, you were able to do your favorite combos no matter what variation you did. And when it came to Jason Voorhees, Predator, Sub-Zero, characters like even new characters that came out with the game was like Takeda, and even I want to say also Leatherface and Triborg, which was surprisingly just fun characters, and you had the freedom of it. You had the freedom of doing so many combos, and it was fast paced. Online may have not been great at the time it came out, but eventually it got better, and it just, anytime I would think about coming back to a Mortal Kombat game, it was going to be coming back to Mortal Kombat X. See, I do enjoy a little bit of MK11, but is it my favorite game of all time? Considering in fighting games, it's not. But MKX, out of almost every single fighting game that is out there, not just Mortal Kombat, but other types of games out there, but Mortal Kombat X is number 4 for my top 5. Now, number 3 was a little challenging for me to pick out, but at the same time, when I was going back and forth on the thought process of putting what could be number 3, it made me, and then I just realized, I was like, oh, number 3 should be an easy one for me. Number 3 should be easy because it's right there. It's bronze level, but compared to the number 2 and number 1 that we'll save up to this moment, but it's number 3 because I grew up with the game and I freaking love the process of how it went throughout the years. But the first game that started it all with the cinematography, wanting to make video games into films, and that was Metal Gear Solid. Back in the time when Hideo Kojima and Konami were the best of buds, and they wanted to bring this sort of style of cinematography into video games, and Metal Gear Solid at the time in the PlayStation 1 was actually extremely brilliant. It was brilliant. You fell in love with every single character. You fell in love with the world that you stepped into, and the music was just the greatest. And you honestly sat down and went on an adventure with Solid Snake, and meeting people like Meryl and Otacon and Decoy Octopus, the members of Foxhound, every single person. And eventually, like, the story grew and it became more and more in 2, and we got introduced to Raiden, which was really cool, surprising, but extremely cool. Then we got 3, went back to the Cold War, 4, the end of Solid Snake, and then here comes other side stories like Peace Walker, Portable Ops, and things like that. And then you have Metal Gear 5, The Phantom Pain, which is I would say it's one of my favorite games. It's not my favorite game of all time because of what it went through. But Metal Gear 1, with the characters, the world, the gameplay, the music, story, everything. Metal Gear Solid 3. Metal Gear Solid is number 3 on my list. Now, with the games like that I'm about to announce for my second game of all time, was going to be a pretty challenge because it was going to defer on number 1 or number 2. And then I realized, you know what, number 1 is just too good, and the reason why it has to stay at number 2. And this was a game that I did not know about in E3. I wasn't aware of it until I saw a couple like a trailer, the trailer on it, and then I saw like a little bit of gameplay of it. The world, when I saw how the world looked like, I was hooked. Like seeing how it was built, and then realizing who the developers were, and seeing what they went on. When I saw like just a little bit of gameplay of it, and then seeing how the world is, I was interested. It caught my eye. So then I went to GameStop, bought the game, played it, and halfway through the game, I was like, okay. And then realizing that it's going to get really difficult in the beginning, or at least get difficult much more towards the end. And then realizing that items descriptions were very important to read, because if I wanted to really know the story, I had to make sure that every single item was picked up. Now I know what you guys are probably thinking what my game is. Maybe not. But number 2 on my list is Bloodborne. Bloodborne was actually one of the first Souls games that I personally played. I never played Dark Souls 1, 2, or not even Demon Souls. But I heard about these games. They just weren't really my thing at the time. But when Bloodborne happened, and then I saw it, and then realizing the developers and realizing everything else, like I said before, and then it took me like I said before, when I had to read the descriptions to know the stories of everything else that it does, I had to start the game. I had to start a new game when I was like, I want to say halfway done with the game, but I had to start it all over just to be able to read everything else, so it kind of like goes the flow of your game. So when the first items that you pick up, you read them right away, you have that knowledge, and then keep it going, rather than almost being done halfway and then just going through the scrolling and reading, and it would take forever. So I decided, new game, read every single description, have the knowledge, and realizing like how this game is, and the world, the creatures you fought against, the weapons were honestly like super fun and super cool to use. And then the DLC came out with the old hunters, and it made me even love the game just as much. It made me fall in love with the world, and the acting with the characters that you go and speak to, either in windows or doors or in person, and realizing that the voice acting is there's a reason why they act like this, and it's phenomenal. So with all of that said, is the reason Bloodborne is number 2 on my list. And I hold up 2 because I kind of wish instead of Elden Ring, we have a Bloodborne 2. Right? So, with all that said, we have approached all the way towards number 1 of the list. Now, this was actually, I'm not joking with you. the hardest to pick. Now, the reason why is because as a kid, I couldn't understand at first. But as years went by, and having older sisters also love the game as well, loving the characters, loving the world, and then playing it with our parents that fell in love with the world and the games as well. And this one game made me fall in love with what it is now. And it honestly, going back to it, realizing how much story, how much characteristics, how much of everything is put into this one game, and thinking about it back in the first PlayStation, how it honestly defined video games to me. And one of the very first games that I ever I would say I ever cried, I ever felt passion for, determination, so many emotions with so many characters, just loving them every single minute and every single time that they're on the screen, or you're sharing the time with them. And then we got a remake of it. But it's not the remake that's the all-time. It's the original that's the all-time. And that is Final Fantasy VII. The world of Midgar, the soldier with the Buster Sword, the girl with the fist, the man with the machine gun. I mean, several of these characters, the thief, the pilot, is Vince a vampire? Is that official? I honestly want to say he's a vampire. He's got to be. And then you have everyone's favorite angel praying waifu, and that was Aerith. That was it. But every single character in Final Fantasy VII you met and you fell in love with, and you just went through the entire world, going through doing side quests, doing secret stuff, wanting to get every single summoning materia, and you wanted to level up every single magic and skill, and you wanted to level up everything in that game just to make sure that you were powerful enough to take down that one-winged angel, Sephiroth. And you honestly just, every single moment, you're flying in your airship, you're seeing the world, having fun with the chocobos. There's so much in Final Fantasy VII that you go back to it. You go back to the original, either on the Switch or PC, or even on the regular PlayStation, or on the PlayStation 3 if you want it digitally, even on the 4, or even in remake when they brought even more to it. Even though it was just Midgar, but we got a whole lot more of Midgar than originally what we did. But in the original, that was Midgar. There was so much to do in that world, and even side characters that you would run into into Midgar and out in the world, in the open world. You were just amazed at every single moment they would have. Every single character touched each other with the passion that they have against evil, and wanting to make sure that the planet is alive, it's safe, the live stream is no more, take down the corporates that are destroying the planet and all that stuff. You're basically an eco-terrorist. Loved every single moment being with these people. I would go back to Final Fantasy VII and remember the times way younger with my older sisters and my parents, and we would all be there in the world playing the game and just making memories. The original is on my #1 game of all time. And with all that said, guys, I really appreciate you picking up this video. And if you're new to this channel, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it. What else is there? Oh yeah, maybe possibly ring that bell if you want to. It's not necessary, I don't think. Once again, guys, thank you for clicking the video, and thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Take care.